Welcome to Slasher Sunday. As you can see, I am in the process of moving. Isn't it weird to see nothing behind me? It is very weird for me. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about a 2000 slasher film starring Molly Ringwald and Kylie Minogue. Kylie Minogue's in this for like 2 minutes. Cut! It is on a 2-pack with the St. Francisville Experiment because a friend of mine told me I had to watch this found footage movie a couple years back. And I bought this, and I just never watched this one. So I was looking through my movies the other day, and I saw this one, and I was like, it's a slasher movie with Molly Ringwald and Kylie Minogue? I have got to check this out. Now, over in the UK, I know that Kylie Minogue is like huge, but over here in America, Kylie Minogue will always be Petra Von Cunt from Biodome. Biodome fans here? Anyways, all right. So this is very meta. This is very much in light of the Scream phenomena of the time. This was, as I said, made in 2000. Here's a really interesting little fact, though. Scream 3 and Urban Legends Final Cut and this were all released in the year 2000, and they all have a premise of making a movie within a movie, and they're all kind of, off the Scream six, the success of the first Scream and the events that take place within the events of Scream. It's weird. It's very interesting to me. They even mention Scream in this movie, so it gets a little nod because it's clearly was made because of it. So I just thought that was interesting. I was looking up. I was like, yeah, it's Urban Legend Final Cut. It's the second one, and then it's Scream 3, and I had like some other things, and I was like, what? These are all made in 2000? How odd is that? So let's talk about this. Spoilers, obviously. The thing I really enjoyed this. There's some things in it I don't understand at all. The ending makes no sense to me, but I liked. One of the big things that I really liked about this movie was Molly Ringwald's character being such an insufferable bitch the entire movie. Like, you're bringing this huge name actress of the 80s into this movie. And yes, her career was not as big as it was once upon a time. But The Breakfast Club was only not 14 years before. There wasn't like this big, huge length of time where she was popular. I mean, 10 years. But I don't know. I like that it changes it up a little bit, and it makes one of our main characters and probably the biggest actress in the United States in this film a completely unlikable bitch, and she survives the film. That's pretty wild, man. You don't see that much. I mean, the only thing I could really equate it to would be something like Gale Weathers in Scream, where she's not really that likable, in my opinion. She's kind of a selfish bitch, and that's what Molly Ringwald is here. And she's not. I don't know. Gale Weathers has her moments where she's kind of sweet and whatever with Dewey and all that stuff, and she becomes kind of a genuine character in moments. But I mean, that has multiple films to explore her character. This one just has one. But Molly Ringwald never really shows any sweet side. She's just kind of, a selfish bitch throughout the movie. And I really liked that. It's a nice change up. You always get the main characters, especially the survivors, the final girls, which there's another final girl as well. But you usually get these characters that they're so sweet, they're so innocent, they've never done anything wrong. Fuck that. That's not people. That's not realistic. There's shitty people. And there's shitty people that would survive shitty situations. It's just, I don't know. So I really liked that about the movie. I really liked the mask of the killer. I thought it was cool, the kind of like the featureless face with like the stitchings and all. I thought that was pretty cool. So this opens with Kylie Minogue being this horrendous bitch of a director. And the guy who plays the killer in the movie, hot-blooded, he goes to her dressing room or her room or whatever to confront her because she's been a dick to him in front of everybody. And he's like, you could have done that without making me look like an idiot and all this. And she's like, you're replaceable, fuck off. And so he takes these like pruning gardening shears, not Cropsy like. I mean, that's Cropsy's signature weapon. This one's different. This one's just got like a little circle that cuts in the very center, and then the rest is just a blade. I think they're like pruning shears. I don't know. I've seen them once before in my life, and I don't know what they're exactly called. I know they're gardening shears, but I want to say they're like got pruning shears on them. Whatever. Someone correct me. Please tell me what they are called. But I thought it was a cool weapon. It was interesting. You can't cut a lot with that thing. It's so close to the base, and you have to get something in there, and the gap's only like this big. So you wouldn't be able to cut off a head or anything. I mean, he does cut off heads with it. Because in movies, cutting off someone's head is super simple, and it just takes one quick swipe of any blade, and it just cuts your head right off. Sure. But yeah, I mean, he cuts off his own pinky, I guess, to show her like that he's psychotic. And then he comes at her and he kills her. And then Molly Ringwald comes in and she kills him. And she stabs him. Now, I will admit, the quality, the transfer on this is terrible. Terrible. Okay? Like 240p on YouTube. Fucking bad. So it was hard to make some things out. So I don't know exactly why he was electrocuted when he was stabbed. Was there something behind him? Was there an electrical socket behind him it stuck in and it electrocuted him? And then that's what got caught in the film was his spirit? Because I don't know. Because at the end, I'm very confused on a couple things. And I will, of course, get to those things. So someone's going to correct me here and be like, it blatantly says in the movie that his spirit was trapped in there and all this. But it looks like him, sort of, because he turns into like Freddy at the end. He has like a burnt face. Very Freddy looking. Very Freddy looking. Which is funny because this was made after the success of Scream, and Scream was made by Wes Craven. And they even mention Wes Craven in here. But, yeah, I mean, is that what is happening? His spirit is caught in there. We don't get to see him too well. So as I said, the quality of this movie is shit, but it doesn't matter. Even if that makes sense, even if that works, there's still things that make no sense. But hey, it's a fucking horror movie. Who gives a shit? So 12 years later, this class is being told this story of the doomed production, and anyone who's tried to view it or finish it since has died, and this class decides it's a good idea to try to finish it ourselves. Of course, we come to find out that the director of this film is the daughter of Kylie Minogue's character, which was so blatantly obvious throughout the film. This picture means more to me. That's not a good Australian accent. I'm never gonna try one again. I'm not. But yeah, and of course we have some film professor who's just knocking horror and saying how awful and stupid it is and all that. Ugh, I hate people like that. And then one of the scenes I really liked is the guy talking about like the love triangle, which was more like a love hexagon or something. It was like, but Jack likes Jill and Jill likes Jane, blah 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 blah, and Carla's a dyke and whatever. I was like, oh, you'd get in trouble for that today. Everyone's so sensitive. But I really liked that exchange, and then they mentioned Boogie Nights in there. So a lot of film references in here. Makes sense since they're all filmmakers. One of these guys is such a dick. So they rent the house from the original production to finish the movie, and I'm not sure why Molly Ringwald would come back. I know the agent of hers talks her into it. It'll be big for your career or whatever. But he has this guy they're renting the house from has his strict rules, and he's like, don't touch my china. It's very fragile and expensive and whatever. And as soon as he leaves the room, the guy just picks up the china and throws it to one of his friends, and the other friend throws it to this chick, and she drops it and it breaks, and they just laugh their ass off. And I'm like, and then the director's like, you do that again and you're out of here. And he's like, you promise? And it's like, can we kill this guy already? What an asshole. How dare he break that dude's china like that when they're renting the house and he was nice enough to let you. What a piece of shit. So this is 2000, so they have to address cell phones here, and of course it's the obvious. There's no signal out here, and the guy disconnected the phones because he didn't want us making personal phone calls, which I thought was a nice little touch there of explaining why the landline didn't work, because that's an issue as well, usually. And the guy who's playing the killer in this, he, as a joke, I guess, decides to take a knife to Molly Ringwald, who's like this famous movie star of the time, and she's like, the whole production hinges on her being a part of it and wanting to be there, and she's already, you know, unhappy with the accommodations and the production and everything. And then the guy goes while she's looking in a refrigerator, I think, and he grabs her from behind and holds a knife to her neck. And then when she turns around, he's like, ha ha ha, like, just kidding, did I scare you? And then she like knees him in the nuts, and I'm like, there's no fucking way. She would have left for sure. But they also prank the director earlier in the movie when they all screen it, and they have everyone in the theater who's watching it with them die, and then she freaks out and runs away, and then it's all a big gag. They're all wearing makeup and shit. But that was pretty mean-spirited. Pretty funny, though, I have to say. There's a little difference. Like, that's actually kind of funny. The other one, like, really? The main actress of your film who's already uptight and not... You're going to hold a knife to her throat as a joke? There's some... Fuck, man. I'm all about humor and taking it too far, but Jesus, dude. That is way, way too far out there. And let's see here. Where am I? Molly can't drive when she asks these. She's like, who am I, fucking Jackie Chan? I don't do my own stunts. I thought that was pretty freaking funny. And then there's this guy. He's trying to get laid by this girl on the set. I don't know if they've had sex before. I think they might have, but I don't know if it's ever actually said. I don't think it is. I think that's the guy that's earlier talking about how he has a dick like the dude in Boogie Nights. So I don't think he's done her yet, but they basically, he's like, oh, I'm going on a run and she's sick, so we're gonna go and so he's like overly pushy, and I can't stand this in these movies. I'm always glad when these guys die, when he's just on top of the girl. He's, come on, baby, come on, you know you want it and all this, and she's just like, no, I don't, we should get it, no, and I know. As soon as the girl says no, just stop, just fucking stop, okay? She doesn't want it. So even if you talk her into it, I don't know, man. That's scummy shit. Stop means stop. Period. No means no. No doesn't mean like, well, if I push a little harder, as long as she's not like screaming no, as long as she's not hitting me. No means no. I get it. There's the times where the girl's like, I don't know if we should, and this and that, and but as soon as she's like, this isn't good, like, no, and you need it, like, and especially like, when she sees the killer, she's like, what is that? Stop! And he's just like, come on, baby, you know you. She's yelling stop outright. I'm glad he's dead. Glad he's dead. And both of them don't really fight much. The decapitation of him, I think that's the guy who gets decapitated in that scene. But the decapitation, yeah, it is. His head gets cut off, of course, so easily. And it rolls over, and it's like, I don't know if it's green screen or whatever, but it like falls over. And the way it looks, it's probably some CGI enhancements or something. It actually looked really cool. It's pretty silly that he's still looking around and stuff. But I don't know, the way it fell and the way it looked, it was kind of a cool effect. And there's some cool practical effects in this. We're going to save those here for the end. The main one. And yeah, the director says it's personal. And what is this? Oh, yeah. Shit, I can't remember what this line. I remember the line, but I'm having a hard time putting it together. Shit, yeah, there's this line where this guy is just like, oh my God, and then he's just dead. The way it's delivered, I would love to put it here, but I don't have the time to honestly pluck the footage out. But there's a way that this person in the movie dies, and they're just like, get out of here, and then it's just like, oh my god, and then he just dies. It's really, really funny. I wrote it down, but I can't remember exactly how the scene goes now. I watched this a couple days ago because I've been busy moving. I knew I had to get this done soon. So, damn, I wrote it down. I completely forget. I will tell you the producer chick, who's the dyke, she puts up one hell of a fight. Good for her. She actually fucking fights back and beats this guy up a little bit. She's not just in the corner, you know, like Friday the 13th Part 2. The chick is in the corner and she's like, fuck that. Okay, I can't stand when they do that in horror. Like, run, do something, just stand there. I get it, you're petrified with fear, but it does not, even though that might be realistic, it's not fun to watch. It's just not fun to watch. It isn't. You want someone to run or fight back. I personally want them to fight back, but if everyone fight back, I guess that would get old, but just stand there and take it is just lame as shit. And the log splitter could have been great. It's a great tool for a kill. Unfortunately, it's done off screen, so that was kind of lame. I was really bummed. Could have saw her head get crushed, but it would have been nuts. And someone just like slashes all their tires, and they're like, no big deal. Seriously, like they're like, oh, my tires got slashed, and everyone's missing from our crew. Like a bunch of people are missing. Even this is supposed to be a cursed production. They just are like, well, let's just finish the movie. It's fucking ridiculous. The way they react to all their tires being slashed is so like, well, it was probably some kids or something like that. It was just like, that's it? That's your response? I mean, at the bare minimum, you'd be furious on how much money that would cost you to replace. They cut the sidewalls, man. There's no patch in that. That is a lot of money. Anyway. And then some old random lady shows up and warns them that the film contains a demon. That was some last minute bullshit right there. Like, we need some exposition quick. What do we do? Well, none of the characters know. How about we just have an old lady show up and tell them for no reason? Did she have a purpose in this movie outside of that? Is she shown any other time in this movie? Did I miss it? Am I fucking on drugs? She just randomly shows up. There's this older woman. Who is that? Was she someone on the set? I don't know. I didn't get it. Maybe if I watched the movie a second time, I'd be like, oh my god, dummy, she's in the beginning. She's like the main character. I don't know. I don't recognize her. And I was like, who the fuck is this? We get to see the killer versus killer battle here, where the fake killer for the movie is battling. That's when it shows that it's not just that guy possessed. Because that's what it kind of feels like at first, is like whoever the killer is going to become the killer through possession or something. And it's like, nope. It's actually like something that's come out of the film and exists because of the film. Reminds me of Are You Afraid of the Dark? The one on The Tale of the Midnight Madness, if I remember correctly. The one that's a Nosferatu ripoff. The demon is in the celluloid. Let's see. I already said all that bullshit. I love when they're running from this killer and the guy is just like, this is my last opportunity. So he turns around and he tells her, like, I've always found you very attractive. And she's like, oh, fuck off. That was amazing. Such a hilarious sequence. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Jurassic World. When that dude goes up and he's like, I'm gonna stay behind, someone has to, and he tries to kiss the girl, and she's like, what are you doing? Like, I have a boyfriend. I love that shit. It completely subverts that normal freaking common thing that they do in films all the time. The guy's like doing something heroic and turns around and kisses the girl, and she's like, oh my god, he swept me off my feet. It's like, yeah, right. You try that in real life, the girl will be like, yeah, fuck off, just like this girl would, which is a big saying of mine. Fuck off. I love it. The killer pours gas onto a car and lights it up. and it burns and burns and burns and burns, and the guy's like cooking inside, and then eventually the car blows up. Yeah, that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen. A car is metal, and if you poured some gasoline on it and you lit it on fire, it would burn for like 1 second. The flame would just be like really big, and that would be it. That would be it. Okay? A car is metal. It wouldn't burn. That was so silly. They must have had to put some kind of, gel, something that burns and it stays on the car, and it'll continue to burn. A gasoline, when it's lit on something, it burns like 1 second. It's so fast, and it evaporates super, super quick when it's out of a container and it's laid flat. So you'd have to like do it quick, and boom. It might get down into the engine a little bit and maybe explode or something, but it would not let the car burn. The whole, like the trunk and all that would not burn. Okay, that's no, absolutely not. That is bullshit. I'm calling bullshit. You guys can fucking do Mythbusters on me and prove me wrong, but I am calling bullshit on that scene. So they finally figure out the killer's there, and Molly Ringwald's character, you think she's going to bitch out, but she's like, let me kill this motherfucker again. So she becomes kind of a badass, which I thought was kind of cool. And she goes and she grabs a knife and a big pot lid, which she's using as a shield. She looks like fucking Captain America, ready. And then the director, or the film professor that there was at their school comes in, and he tells them, after the woman tells him that it's this evil entity that lives in the film, he goes in and he tells Molly Ringwald and the director that it's a demon, that it's in the film. They accept it instantly. Not one question is given at all. Like, really? And how do you know this? And she just says it, and they're like, okay, which I guess is fine. We don't need to spend 10 minutes of them being like, nuh-uh. Like, but come on. Just one question, like, how do you know this? And are you sure? Okay, well, it's, things are crazy enough. I'm willing to believe anything right now. Nothing, just like, this is what's happening. Okay, well, let's burn the film then. Get the fuck out of here. Who accepts something like that so fast? Anyway. Oh my God, it's hot. So they burn the film, and as they're burning the film, the dude starts to burn. That's cool as shit. The way his skin is melting in this, and it goes like, at first it looks like a burn victim, and then in second it looks like Freddy Krueger, and then it just goes exponentially from there as they continue to burn film. I'm not sure why the cops, when they showed up, they pulled her away from the fire and like threw her back, and they wouldn't listen to a word she said and all that. And they put her in the back of a squad car that she could just open the door of. I don't think those doors back there open, but maybe in detectives' cars they do. I don't know. But she just gets right back out and goes back to it. For a second, I was like, why isn't she doing anything more? I guess she was just like, fine, they're not going to let me go. I'll let them put me in the car. I'll sit here like a good little girl for a second. Then they'll get back inside, and I'll be like, all right, cool, let's go back and burn this shit. He goes to burn Molly Ringwald, and he douses her completely in gasoline, and then he burns her somehow a little bit, right? Because she's in a burn victim unit at the end, but her hair's still fine. She has no visible scars on her face, on her chest, anything, because you can see like the roundness here, and she just has some stuff on her arms. He doused her in gasoline, and somehow she was lit on fire on her arms, but none of her face or her head got... Really? That's not possible. This is skin. This is hair, okay? Hair would hold gasoline. Skin would burn and burn and burn. You're very flammable, okay? Unfortunately, we are flammable. Metal isn't, but our bodies are very, very flammable. Once they catch fire, ooh, watch out. Yeah, if you douse someone, especially if she's wearing clothes and she has hair and this and that, she would light up like a fucking Christmas tree. Her clothes and her would burn much more easier than her arms would, but her arms seem to be the only thing burned. I'm calling bullshit hard on that as well. One of these chicks is just impaled by a water faucet, and then he just turns on the water. I think it's just to show the effect off, that like, how'd that get through her and still work? But they kind of show it from the top angle, so it doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't really showcase the practical. So it was kind of a silly thing. It would not impale you. I mean, if you fell from high enough, it would. But if you just fell on it from that, it would hit your back and it would really fuck you up. Your body would fall over. It would not impale you like that. It's not sharp. It's too wide. But it's a movie. I know that the killer knows that his spirit is in the film, right? I mean, he would have to, because as the film's burning, he's burning. He would have to wonder why, right? So why, when he sees the film next to the burning car, does he not go and protect it? He just goes and tries to burn Molly Ringwald. Like, there's the film. Go. You're a physical entity. You can touch tangible things. Go pick the fucking thing up and put it somewhere where no one can hurt it, because you'll die if they... That was stupid. Anyway, and then she finally gets all the stuff in there and he burns up and he melts with it. And that effect is awesome. His burning scene where he's melting and his face is all elongating, all awesome stuff. Great practical effects. I loved it. But it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Because, why? Here's why. Because at the end of the film, they do the typical bullshit. I could explain this away, and I'll try here in a minute. But they do the typical horror movie nonsense, where they have to be like, oh, but a surviving copy is out there, and now the killer's back, and sequel. Fuck off with those endings. The killer's still alive. Like, it works sometimes. It works sometimes. But when you do it in every movie, it loses its effectiveness. You're just waiting there like, okay, here we go. Do that, he's still out there. It's so fucking lame. I get it. Michael Myers got up off the grass, and when Loomis went and looked, he was gone. Yes. Is that ending amazing? Yes. Absolutely. That works. Okay? That works in that film because that film's fucking incredible, A. And because of, I'm not going to get into why too much. I've already went too long on this video, but you can't do it in every fucking movie. You just can't. It's so stupid. Anyway, so because they had to do that, they had to make another copy exist. If another copy exists, then they didn't burn all of what is him, right? The way you could explain that away is each copy of the film has its own entity in it. So if they mass printed it and gave it out to the public in a bunch of VHS or whatever, shit, DVD, I mean, 2000. So if they put it on a bunch of DVDs and VHS and they sent them across the world, then would he come into your house if you played him on the thing? Like, wouldn't he want the film to get done so then he could get to a wider audience? Or does the demon punish anyone who's trying to... But it kills anyone who tries to watch the movie as well. So I don't know. It would seem like it would make more sense for him to let the tape get out there, like The Ring or something. Like anyone who watches it dies. But I don't know. I don't know. That just doesn't make any sense. Like, if they burned... It should be... If they burned every single bit of film that was ever filmed on the film and any copy. Because they'd be like, oh, well, it's a copy, so it doesn't count. And it's like, well, the copy counted. Because it's the same print as the one they had and they burnt. So, because they brought the film. Like, they brought the only film in existence, supposedly. And then we find out at the end, because they have to do this stupid fake out, that there's more footage. And it's like, there can't be. He fucking died. He died because they burned the only footage of him. So that makes no sense. And the whole, like, he turns like electric at the same time, kind of like how he dies, the dude in the beginning dies. That's silly. I don't know. I'm still kind of off on that, but the whole other print thing pissed me off. It's super, super silly. And we don't even get to see the final massacre of all the people who are watching it in the theater. And they're all coming to see, like, scenes that were shot for a film that was never ended. That'd be like everyone going to see fucking Sleepaway Camp 4 Survivor. Which, if you've never seen that footage, do yourself a favor and never see that footage. It is god awful. Thank God they never made that piece of shit. Anyways, guys, all right. Well, that was my last Slasher Sunday in this house. It's weird. It's weird. I probably will still shoot a couple more videos here with nothing behind me. I'm not moving for another like week, but I had to pack all this stuff up. But it's been fun. And until next Sunday, adios.